really gross. It's really uncomfortable. But it's also very telling of who he is. He is a dirty old man. He's a dirty old man.
Get over here by me, okay? We go back a long way. She was 12, I was 30. Hey, Mia, how old are you? 11 years old. Talk to me before we leave, okay? And I've loved kids jumping on my lap. Just remember, no dates till you're 30. What's this child's name? Reach in the pool and rub my leg down. No dates till you're 30 years old. Anyway. Can I have a picture with just the kids?
Well, you can't put your hands on the president, but at least say, get your mitts off my kid.
He's going to be the first president to wear a shock collar in public, because they're just going to have to zap him. So they're just going to give him some volts when he goes for the Pert Plus. Whenever he goes to sniff a girl, here's 1,000 volts.
Secret Service.
Only presidential meet and greet that ends in pepper spray. Come on, man.
And with I don't know,
You know, and Biden did win Philly with 127% of the vote, which is not nothing. That's kind of impressive.
What advice do you give President Trump this morning on what he should do from this point forward to make the United States stronger?
well, first of all, he should take responsibility. He's in charge. He talks about being the commander-in-chief. The choices made by other countries are affecting the price of gas here at home. He should take responsibility. The big part of the reason Americans are facing high gas prices is because oil-producing countries and large companies have not ramped up the supply of oil quickly enough to meet the demand. He should take responsibility.
Biden is playing a very familiar blame game. He's added a new boogeyman to his growing list of villains.
I was able to bring gasoline down well over $1.60, but it's inching up because of what the Russians and the Saudis just did. He should take responsibility.
So now we have the oil industry he blamed, the mom and pops, the corporation, Putin, and now Saudi Arabia. I guess no more fist bumps.
He should take responsibility.
Yeah, Joe Biden should look in the mirror if he wants to figure out the reason for high gas prices. In the campaign, he promised to end fossil fuels in America. That's why we have an energy crisis in America.
Would there be any place for fossil fuels, including coal and fracking, in a Biden administration?
No, we would work it out. We would make sure it's eliminated and no more subsidies for either one of those, any fossil fuel. You have to set sort of guide rails down now. So between the years 2021 and 2030, it's irreversible, the path we've set ourselves on. One of which is doing away with any subsidies for fossil fuels, number one. Number two, holding them liable for what they have done. And by the way, when they don't, or when they're deliberate, put them in jail. That's what I'm not joking about this. I'm not joking about this.
Well, like what about, say, stopping fracking and stopping new pipeline infrastructure
Let's debunk some myths here. My administration has not stopped or slowed U.S. oil production. Quite the opposite. But kiddo, I want you to just take a look, okay? You don't have to agree, but I want you to look in my eyes. I guarantee you, we're going to end fossil fuel, and I am not going to cooperate. Okay?
Mr. Biden is in denial about both the inflation crisis and the failure of his progressive policies. Of course, he's playing the blame game. Vladimir Putin, pandemic, supply chains, rich people, greedy corporations, price gouging, poultry producers.
He should take responsibility.
He's blaming Rick Scott, Senator Rick Scott, and of course, lately, blaming former President Donald Trump. That's what this ultra MAGA stuff is all about, isn't it? Trump. By the way, please sign me up for ultra MAGA. Tax cuts, deregulation, energy independence, record low minority unemployment, falling poverty, an orderly border, no Vladimir Putin invasions. Please sign me up.
He should take responsibility.
The Biden blame game and the Biden distraction game isn't working, and it won't work.
Let's debunk some myths here. My administration has not stopped or slowed U.S. oil production. Quite the opposite.
As Biden broke the biggest supply chain of all, he broke U.S. energy, and Democrats shut down U.S. oil refineries.
Quite the opposite.
Oil companies were faced with making a decision. Did they invest in money-losing operations, which they were a couple of years ago, when the government is telling them and the incoming president has promised to shut down their business?
Put them in jail. That's what I'm not joking.
But the bottom line is we shouldn't have to rely on anyone for our oil and gas and coal. We have more than enough, not only to support our own needs, but to support our friends around the world. We certainly shouldn't resort to dangerous gimmicks.
Wow.
Sometimes Joe Biden sounds so stupid about business.
So he's blaming refiners, he's blaming Putin, but Russia's pumping flat out, and Biden is enriching our enemies while impoverishing U.S. consumers.
He should take responsibility.
His policies create more dirty oil produced by foreign countries. Biden's consumer sentiment rating from the University of Michigan is now worse than Jimmy Carter. Got Hispanics, millennials, women walking away from him, and it's his own fault. Biden's misleading messaging is to blame for his tanking polls.
If you look at his honesty ratings from the American people, they've gone seriously underwater. Then all the lying about how Build Back Better was the way to cure inflation. Sure, spend another $3 to $5 trillion on top of already having spent trillions of dollars. That's going to bring prices down. All these speeches he's made recently about how consumer debt is going down, it's not true. I don't know who's writing his material, but he's actually lying to the American people. And guess what? We're not stupid. We know it. And all this blaming of all these industries, meat processors, and now the refiners and the shipping companies. Now he's going to Saudi Arabia, a country that he has been unbelievably dismissive of and antagonistic towards, to try and beg for oil. Utter humiliation and really an embarrassment for our country.
Biden keeps claiming greedy, monopolizing companies are behind price hikes. So what is with this old line of attack from Biden? How come he has not changed since the Nixon era?
The American people are smarter than to listen to the lies that are coming out of the White House and the lies that are coming out of Biden saying, oh, the economy's great, to everyday Americans that are having to pay paycheck to paycheck to have enough fuel to get to their second job, to provide food for their families. All of the pressures that we're seeing on the economy right now is going to be very detrimental to the American people. And they're smart enough to realize that life was better 2 years ago when they didn't have a Democratic Congress, a Democratic Senate, and a Democratic presidency.
Yeah, the same old ways of doing things.
They chill, calm your horses. You get killed like abortions. I'm so real, make you